Hi, welcome back to the Rich Channels podcast, brought to you by ASC International. My name is Raphael.
And my name is Jeremy.
And we're here to talk to you guys about buses, electric buses, the future, and the present. So let's get into it.
All right, to start off, what do you think about electric buses?
I think it's very innovative. I think electric buses will definitely change. Obviously, it just changed transportation in general. It's a cool, futuristic way to get around now. Be
Almost
more
like
silent, more fun, I guess, in a way. Cooler, futuristic looking, all that stuff.
I was gonna say, like, looking back, people like, let's say like the 1950s, 60s, people were taking like, you see no buses. They're just like kind of around and thinking like, oh, like this is gonna be this is like a new way of transportation. Like, oh, we can take buses to get places.
Mm-hmm.
And now you're thinking, oh, it's electric. Sometimes even automated, like they can self-drive. Just so far, we came so far in just the realms of just automotives and just technology in general. So I think that's pretty cool. I think it's very interesting. It's very innovative.
Cutting edge.
Cutting edge, yeah.
It's cutting edge. But that goes to tell you though, like, even though our generation's like, people may say that we are progressing fairly fast as an economy. The fact that we have electric buses now, and like just not even 100 years ago, we were like starting out with like very round buses, not very eco-friendly, super loud, slow, sluggish, whatever the case may be. Our times are changing now.
Definitely. Like, also too, like from personal experience, did you used to take the bus when you were younger? Like, say, like school buses, maybe even like public transportation type buses?
Nah, okay. So, growing up, I was fortunate enough to have my father be able to drop me off to places, to and from school.
AKA, he had a chauffeur.
No, not a chauffeur. It's my padre, my father.
He had his own Alfred.
Butler. Right? But no, I was fortunate enough to have someone take me to and from school. Mm-hmm. So I never like really rode buses. It was only up until I started working at a camp where I'd be a chaperone on a bus for like younger kids and stuff. That's really it. What about you?
I mean, I've been taking buses for all my life. I live so close to my school that I would just get like dropped off or either walked home. But when I had to take the bus, it was okay. I mean, you get the gum on the seats, riding on the seats. Like going on trips was kind of cool with your friends.
Yeah.
You kind of just like, maybe it's like an hour, maybe 45-minute drive, and you just kind of like messing around, just like playing games with your friends, or just like, I mean, this is the era before like phones and stuff. I mean, we're young, we're not super young. Like we grew up like basically during the age of just like the iPhone was just getting started and people were just starting to use their phones like consistently.
2010s and stuff.
Yeah, like I was taking the bus like then going on school trips. It was cool. I mean, I would say like, would I go on the bus now if I had the chance? Probably not. I mean, I got my license, I got a car. I'm cool on that. But the thought of having electric buses and just people being able to go in a cleaner and more efficient manner, that's really a step in the right direction, I believe. But I mean, what do you think?
I definitely do agree with that. I do not have my own car, but do I see myself taking buses nowadays? Honestly, I haven't taken a bus in probably been a year or so. It does come in handy sometimes, but like now when you have like, things like Uber, Lyft, I also stay away from taxis, but like, I mean, then again, times are changing, so it's like you kind of like move away from those older forms of transportation. Mm-hmm. But now that like we're gonna have electric buses, I think more people are gonna be inclined or maybe interested in taking like these new forms of transportation, which I think is dope.
I mean, in terms of like, if you had that opportunity to be on an electric bus, let's say like not even like for school, let's say like they're like, oh, like because I know my friend was talking about how they give out like free bus cards during the summer. Would you take it if it was an electric bus and you knew like it was clean, up to date, and they took care of it, and it wasn't like the stigma of being public transportation, like
because it's a cleaner form almost.
Yeah, I mean, like you would expect it to be cleaner and like more kept, since it's like a more expensive type of like more transportation. So like, would you take that offer if they said like they give you the opportunity?
I could definitely see myself trying it out. I see why not. Mm-hmm. Especially because it's brand new and let's face it, our generation, we love brand new things. We like to flock to anything that's new and popping. But I would definitely try it out for sure. If it's a free bus pass and it's a brand new technology, you get to like see the differences that they made from like the previous generation of buses. I would definitely give it a shot. What about you? How do you feel about that?
I mean, I say in a perfect world, I didn't have my car, and like they had gave an opportunity like that, I probably would just to see it, like just out of curiosity.
Yeah.
But would I see myself taking an electric bus like constantly? Probably not, just off convenience of having a car. But I think that actually gives me another question. Do you think it would change the people's public perception of public transportation? Because sometimes there's no like think about a subway, New York City subway, how it's perceived as being dirty and like what crime happens. Do you think sometimes the bus can be considered like dirty, or they could say like that could have some negative connotation? You think it being electric will change that, or?
That is a very good question. And I was also going to bring up the fact that the subway needs to be redone and everything. But I think having electric buses won't change the perception of public transportation as a whole.
Mm-hmm.
Yet, it is a step in the right direction to have EV buses,
Mm-hmm.
right? And to your point about the subways and stuff, I think if we wanted to change the whole perception about public transportation, make the public transportation new ways and everything, make them more, I wouldn't say affordable because like they're fairly affordable, but like renovate them, reinvent them, make them more cutting edge, make it be attractive to the younger generation, make them want to feel like they don't have to Uber everywhere or catch a lift or all those things, but like make it interesting and more fun almost.
I mean, I know I believe it's either China or Japan, they have this thing called a bullet train.
Bullet train.
Like one of the fastest like trains in the world. And like it can basically get you everywhere. I feel like America needs to have their own system of a bullet train. I feel like it'd be more convenient. I mean, we all taken like Amtrak and like stuff like that, but like I feel like it doesn't really get the job done. I mean, think about going. What is it? I forgot how fast it goes. It goes like it does crazy numbers.
I think okay. So actually, I'm into cars. If you guys haven't heard from the previous podcast, when I was growing up, I was probably about like 10 years old, and I was looking up Lamborghini Murcielagos and stuff. I think a Lamborghini Murcielago raced a bullet train, and it was a pretty close race. If I'm not mistaken, the bullet train goes close to 200 miles per hour, if not more. Very, very fast. And it's smooth too. They have like some sort of high technology system where the train essentially floats over the tracks, and it's not like a traditional railroad system like where your wheels are like in these grooves. It's completely different. It's crazy technology. You guys should definitely look it up. But
I'd say like if America was able to integrate their own version of the bullet train on top of like having electric buses and having automated vehicles, it would then improve how fast we're evolving on a technological scale. Yeah. I mean, think about going to, let's say, New York to Florida. Instead of taking almost 24 hours, get there in 10, 6.
But now, imagine how much money that would cost to change the infrastructure of all these things. Build new railroad lines, just invest in like all the technology, the research that needs to be done, the materials that need to be shipped and exported, all of that stuff. Like you gotta factor that price in, and it's a tall order to ask for. It's
But think about how much money they would get back
in return.
I mean, think about like you want to go. Let's say you want to go to Florida like before. Instead of going on a flight, say you don't want to fly, you want to bring stuff down like liquids. You want to be able to bring stuff back and not have to worry about paying extra for carry on or just you want to bring more stuff or just do stuff in general.
Mm-hmm.
Think about having a bullet train. You can get there in 6-10 hours. All you got to do is go on a bullet train, pay a little more than you pay off for an Amtrak, and you get there like that.
Yeah.
Wouldn't that be more appealing? And it goes faster. There's going to be sleeper cars, obviously, like an Amtrak. And, like, you don't have to worry about staying overnight. Because I did that. I did the train ride to Florida. It was terrible. I hated it.
Train ride to Florida.
It was horrible. It was like 24 hours, something like that. It was terrible. So if I can get there by train in 10 hours, I would do it. It's only 10 hours. I mean, a flight's 2 hours, maybe like 4, depending on like layaways and just like if you're doing a connecting flight.
Mm-hmm.
But if I can be able to bring like water, my own bathing attire, my own, just
On the train?
like say like
You want to take showers on the train?
Nah, to bring it with, because you know how you have to buy stuff when you go to another like state or something,
Oh.
because you can't like
Yeah.
like shampoo, conditioner, maybe like face wash, like you have to rebuy it because you can't bring certain amount of liquid on the plane.
So you're talking about the security system?
Yeah, like that could be a little annoying.
For sure.
And plus, too, you can't bring a certain amount of like luggage because like you have to pay more. But on a train, you just kind of bring as much as you can, just put it in the thing, a little almost like a plane cubby.
I see what you're saying.
Yeah.
So essentially, this would be just a high tech version of like a regular train, without like TSA being involved because it's not an airport, but it's essentially doing the same exact thing.
Exactly.
I'm picking up what you're putting down, and it sounds like a really good idea.
Or if you take, let's go back to electric buses. You take like instead of like Greyhound or what's some Leprechaun? I think it's the Leprechaun bus. You know what I'm talking about?
Okay, I think I took one.
It's the one with the Leprechaun on the side. You know,
it's
a
green bus. It's,
yeah.
I'm sure you guys know what we're talking about.
Yeah. Like imagine if those were. I don't think this people would be 100% comfortable, but imagine if they were electric and automated, and they just like there was never a bus driver who had to stop, go to the bathroom, or have to do those rest stops, or it just literally goes.
Oh no! So you're bugging. You're talking about having a bus that drives itself with no bus driver?
I mean,
there would need to be a bus driver.
I mean, there would have to be. I mean, we're moving to the start, but like point in technology where flying cars are starting to get invented. I mean, they have jetpacks.
They do have jetpacks.
We have robots. Like, what's the difference between having a robot that can do a basic function, opposed to technology or programming that can drive for you?
Okay, now check this out. What's the difference? The fact that you have a full loaded bus with like 20, 25 people on it, 30 people on it.
Who's to say that a robot's reaction time or a robot's driving is not better than a human?
But there'll be factors like, errors. Like, humans aren't perfect. The program's not going to be perfect. Technology can give out or fail at any point. That's why you have car crashes with autonomous driving vehicles.
We should have car crashes with regular people. Both of them are not perfect.
But it's like you'd rather trust someone who's trained to do this job more so than having an autonomous,
Right.
bus for the whole thing.
There's 2 cars, one autonomous, one with the person. They crash. Only one person gets hurt.
Why would only one person get hurt? Where'd that come
Because,
from?
alright, 2 cars, 2 people. They get into a crash, 2 people get hurt. 1 car, automated, 1 car, 1 person get into a crash, only 1 person gets hurt.
What are you trying to say?
There's less fault or less damages with an autonomous car. Because think about this. An autonomous car, and somebody, like, let's say it's like an Uber or something, it's driving, get into a fender bender from the, like, not fender bender, but like a rear end collision. So somebody's in the car, somebody's in the front, crash like this, right? A regular rear end collision. Instead of somebody getting hurt who's driving the car, like maybe I don't know, a concussion, depending how severe the accident is, obviously. It would just be maybe the person in the back just kind of bumps their head, and it's just like, it's not as severe as the person who would be driving the car if they're in that rear end collision. You know what I mean?
Essentially, but also too, you have to have some sort of like, not security, but you need to have someone working in that bus system to be operating or at least aware of what's going on. You know what I mean? Like, kind of direct traffic, because at the end of the day, like, it's essentially just a, vehicle that, commuters are going on to, but there's no sense of direction on, like, what to do, where to go off of, or anything like that.
You put the GPS tracking in there, like, oh, take me to, let's say, so-and-so school to drive these kids off. All right, sending location to this so-and-so school.
Yeah.
Stopping at every point, and it studies the stays at a certain, like, bus stop for a kid for, like, at least 2 to 3 minutes. If the kid's not there, then it goes off.
That is the future, though. Like, and I see where you're going with this. Like, it definitely could happen, but it's a lot of technology being involved, and I don't think as a generation, I don't think we're there yet, or as a world,
I don't think we're there yet
but
either.
it can definitely happen though.
I don't think we're 100% there, but I feel like in the future, maybe the next 10 years, maybe even 5 years, that we could get to the point where you drop your kids off and you see literally no one there except like, oh, welcome to, we're going here at so and so stop, here to pick up so and so's kids, timer there for 3 minutes if the kid's not there, or at least loading on the bus, or it doesn't feel like any weight coming on the bus. The door closes, next stop. He goes to the school, stays in the parking lot, end of school, reroutes itself to pick up the kids in the front, and then drops them off at the end of the day. You know what I'm saying?
That's
like,
all good and well. That is the future. It could be the future. However, that's all good and well, but you're still missing that, personal interaction with like a whole school bus driver. Like some of these school bus drivers like to do their job and enjoy like getting to like know the children or whatever the case may be. Like you're losing that whole interaction.
Yeah, I understand.
Getting to know the parents and stuff like that. Like it's too. We're already in a generation like where kids are like already on their cell phones and like little kids on their cell phones, like kind of like forgetting how to really interact with people because they're kind of just stimulated with all this technology and social media and whatever have you. So I think getting rid of bus drivers, like it's just something that you wouldn't want to add on top of that. So like they're not really getting to say hi to their bus driver, bye to their bus driver, and like get that human interaction to start the day.
Yeah, I understand. Like, because as a kid, when I was talking to my bus drivers, I mean, they'd be some of the nicest people.
Yeah.
They'd be so ready to do the job. They are people who are willing to do. I mean, a lot of stuff can happen on a bus. I mean, we all been kids. We've seen a lot, and they have to deal with a lot, especially like early in the morning, then in the afternoon. Bus drivers are always there to pick up our kids. They're always there to make sure like we're going to be our destination safe. They even like I interact with the parents and let them know how their kids are doing. So there is that lack of intimacy when it comes to knowing what your kids are doing on the bus and if they're going to be safe or not, and like lack of security because like something happens, who's going to be there to be like, okay, we got into an accident, how are we going to help the kids, or what are we going to do unless there's like a chaperone there. But most of the time, I mean, when I got to middle school, high school, there was nobody on the bus. It was just the bus driver. So if something happened, it was on them. So I understand what you're saying, and I do think that's a loophole. Like, are we just gonna have to have a chaperone at every bus instead of a bus driver?
Have to, because alongside with that too, you want to know your kid like has someone to protect them if anything goes wrong. Like, you're not gonna send your 7-year-old on a bus where there's nobody there. That makes no sense.
100%. Yeah,
you know what I mean. Like even if you have like a sibling or whatever, you just need somebody to be there, just if anything goes wrong. Make sure the kid has their medication. Make sure the kid has somebody to talk with. Anything, you don't want to do that. But I see what you're saying though.
I feel like to close off this podcast, I just want to say, electric vehicles and just the autonomy of it. It's a very hefty topic that it's gonna have to go through a lot of regulation, a lot of talks, and a lot of just innovators to really think about these problems and just really grasp the concept of what can we do with our technology and how far can we go with it. I mean, do you have anything to add to that?
I just want to say, like, it could definitely be the future. I see where your mind is heading with all this stuff, and it's very possible. But I don't know. It's all crazy, man. It's just stay tuned. Just continue to learn about this new technology. Anything else to say?
I like to say I'm an optimist for the future. I feel like technology could be a very helpful tool, and I like to say that I feel like as innovators and as just new technology and just different ways of approaching different problems to everyday life comes out, I feel like it's for the benefit of us as a society, even a human race. So I like to say that things are looking brighter. I mean, also there are some drawbacks that we can't ignore, but I like to say that we are getting better and smarter as a society as a whole. So I like to see that, and it's very inspiring to see.
All right.
So.
Well, I think that wraps up today's episode. Again, thank you guys for tuning in. we had fun talk today.
Yeah.
Remember to check our social medias down in the bio below. We post weekly on this podcast, and thank you guys for tuning in.
Remember, we got you covered from A to Z. Thanks for watching.